Hi and welcome on behalf of HerWorld India. I'm Rakhee Bakshee here. Today we are discussing a very, very relevant and important topic, and the topic is about learning gap in schools. And especially in the time of pandemic and COVID-19, we are just thinking as to why it is happening. And that's why on HerWorld India, we thought, why don't we discuss this? As you know, that HerWorld India is a platform which lends visibility to gender issues, but also highlights contemporary issues and current affairs. We have had shows where we had speakers coming in who have been lending insights, very meaningful ones, and we've only gained from that knowledge. And today, again, in this show, I really welcome all of you. Lots of ladies, maybe some gentlemen, and a wonderful panel of esteemed speakers. I go to Sumita Dev Sarkar first, who is the owner and director of Sprindales School in Darbhanga, Bihar. We have Madhu Sharan, who is a lawyer, and we have Rati Karwal, who's an educator, and we are going to talk about it. Some of the portion we've been talking about, we already know that these inputs are there, but I go to Sumita ji and ask her as to what learning gap is and how her school and she is managing and addressing that. Sumita ji. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah. So now, first of all, we have to understand what do we mean by this learning gap. Broadly speaking, learning loss describes the loss of skill and knowledge when the students fail to attend school. So the basic thing is they are missing a social interaction. Digitalization of the education is doing a lot of things, like it has changed the entire dynamic of education. But for the privileged, it's been a boon. As I was hearing Sharan ma'am, it has proved a boon for them because they have an access to, for big cities and these privileged, like they have access to this internet and laptops and smartphones, etc. So, but what about the underprivileged? Why don't we, have you ever thought about the rural children?
Yeah.
So so the question was like, how are we going to plug this gap, this learning gap?
That's
so
very important.
How are we going to do that?
Yes.
From my experience, when I see that, when the students come after 2 years, I mean, they have completely missed on the social interaction between a teacher and a student. That is the basic foundation of any school or education. I mean, we can make our children literate by teaching them at home itself like this. But what about the social skill? What about the social skill? That comes only when you interact with your fellow students, your teachers, and that is how we try. What I was thinking was like, why not form like a WhatsApp group for these students and teachers where they continuously interact with each other. They don't lose in touch. They don't lose that touch of the teacher and student interaction. And then like we can and like loss of skill, so we can, the basic thing is now we have to encourage and motivate these students as well as these guardians. We have to take the guardians also into confidence, like we are going to provide this, we are going to do that. So, and about the honing the skills of these students, we can so we are just planning to hold some competitions like drawing and like dancing and the music and all that. I mean, that is the way we can lure the children. Just come to school and start your education. They have to find it interesting. They should find it a motivation to join school, because now after these 2 years they are so used to staying at home and just eating, sleeping, doing nothing. और उनको आराम मिल गया है, तो अभी उसको चाहिए कि उनको आराम से बाहर निकालना है. So for that, it's a really very tough job for us. We have to lure these children by giving them something attractive, some attractive things like school में ये सब हो रहा है, picnics हो रहे हैं, तो interactive skills हो रहे हैं, ये वो. So that's how, I mean, I think we can
and especially I can sense this, Sumita ji, that in Bihar especially, I mean, one is also looking at diverse kind of scenarios. So you have urban population, rural population, and I think this is something that Madhu Sharan ji really wants to talk about also. I bring you in, Madhu ji, here, And please talk about this whole challenge that this learning gap is creating, and how do we really understand some of the key points, the problems, let's say at home, the divide. Would you like to talk about it, Madhuji?
Yeah, the first thing is that even if in the privileged class, the whole scene which has changed is the first thing is that in a working class, like all the middle class mother, father are also working from home. The student is and the child is attending the class. There is a complete communication gap and imbalance between two, because they have to do their own work and the child has to attend their own class. So there, the the scene which was that in school the child was taken care by teacher, and he or she had an environment, and he or she was in a group where he was able to and she was able to adjust with peer group, and they had a different kind of setup where they were able to adjust, communicate, share their problems, share their own agonies, they share their household problems also. They used to complain about their guardians also. All these things have vanished, and that is creating a lot of emotional stress on children. This is about the big cities where the internet is available, and the what I'm seeing is that parents are completely helpless, because they also are facing challenging, because their work has increased from home. They're continuously on the internet, they're on the calls, they're attending the calls, they don't have time. So there is a complete gap between parents and the student teacher. Those mothers who are not working, they may be helpful to us. Coming to the small towns, there was, and the rural areas. In the rural areas, the major, one of the things was major fraction, which child used to go, and the Bihar government has introduced it also, the midday meal scheme, for which they were lured and forced to go to school. Now, by the school closing, that attraction has gone. Also, the girl child education has completely gone, because they are forced to bring money for their family also by working outside. So all these problems are not addressed by this internet and solution, and since the internet is also not there, these are very, very grave, because we are seeing about only urban area and talking about internet education. The mass students which I live in villages and the rural areas and the small towns, which all these facilities are deprived of, we are not attending, addressing at all these. We in this
Actually,
platform,
you some very pertinent points again coming from you, Madhuji, because you're talking about digital divide, which is happening, the digital inequality which happens. And though we are really emphasizing in the new education policy as to how holistic learning can help, and how can only be, we still have challenges, especially in India, that we have to address, and we have to find new solutions also within that. But here in this show, we are only trying to also understand some of these problems. So for example, you've been sharing with us that as to how at homes, a lot of people are working together. So parents are working from home for their own offices. Children have to address to their school, their syllabi, their examinations. And then sometimes siblings have to share, devices. For example, if there is a laptop only one there, how do they share that? How does one smartphone cater to so many at home? So these are some of these very, very basic issues, but I think becomes larger. I've been getting feedback from colleges and sometimes schools that how to cater to this digital learning, how to give smartphones to a large number of students, whether in schools or colleges. And maybe here from this platform, we've been trying to again offer some kind of help there as to how we can help. So I come to Rati, who's also working in villages. Basically, she's been very close to nature. She's been in jungle herself working. How does she understand that those problems are pertinent? So we bring her in, Rati, to understand from her own insights. Rati.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Rakhee ji. I've been working in the wildlife forest areas for last 18 years, basically in the hospitality sector. But it was very close to my heart to work with the village school children, just to understand what was going on with them. Because all majorly my staff was coming from the village itself. And their knowledge level was sometimes very challenged. So when I went to the schools and I found this, that in one single hall, there were 5 classes being conducted, which was a very sad state of affairs, like class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4. They're all children sitting in one lines, you know, and one single teacher is trying to take care of like 50 children or 60 children in one hall. And the situation is really very grim. Uh, Living in cities, urban children, they have a very different set of problems. But these children, which are the masses, as Madhuji has just raised that, is nobody cares. Even the officers, they are in such a bind. A single teacher who looks after these children has to travel almost 50 kilometers because it's the nearest town where she's staying. And deep within, the roads are bad, everything. And once she reaches, there is a bathroom in the whole of the school campus, which takes care of about 150 or 200 children and 12 teachers or 6 teachers or the people who are there. So teachers also lose interest in teaching them. And it was very hard. So I used to conduct summer camps for these children. That was the solution I found. And during the summer vacations, I would call all age group of children and teach them general knowledge, storytelling. I got books for them, teach them how to swim, and generally, you know, trying to inculcate the values of the older kids, mentor the junior kids. And
So,
during
yeah.
this lockdown, sorry, I shifted to
continue.
Rishikesh. I shifted to Rishikesh. So here also I started teaching my, you know, maid came to teach my child,
Okay.
and another nearby Basti. So a few children came to me, and they have, one of the boys has dyslexia. So he was in class 6th before the lockdown. Now he's in class 9th, and he has no idea of 3 years of education. He has
I totally get, yeah.
no
Specially
foundation.
able children, that's what Rati,
Yes.
you're telling us here. And that's again a point. And I think these are not only points we're discussing in this show, I must tell everyone, but also some of these points that authorities should take note of, because these are related to policies somehow, somewhere. I must also announce here that Upma Singh ji has joined. She's principal of Eurokids, also in Bihar, Purnia. I welcome you, Upma ji. Please come in. If you can hear us and if you can, you know, see us also, I think some of the points we would like to gather, because we are also talking about what are the key points here when we're talking about digital learning, especially for school children, is that whether the competency is being compromised somewhere, whether in-person interaction which was happening is somewhere taking away the creative learning from them, and some of the, you know, on-ground kind of experience that should go with creative learning is also not happening. And that's what we are trying to understand. If Upma ji is here, do you want to come in and say something?
Regarding the creative learning?
Yeah.
Your question, please.
So the idea and the question that we're talking about, that when you don't have in-person interaction, because digital learning or digital schooling is about being away from the school. You are at home or you are anywhere, but not in school. So does it take away, you know, the holistic idea of the pleasure of learning?
Definitely. By all means, it's taking away the interest of the students. When they were offline, it really created a great scenario for the teachers as well as for the children in their interaction. But now that we are having the classes, I mean, work from home, that type, it's not creating a great thing for the children, because all the time staying online, it's not good for the children. And second thing, they lose interest being at home. They cannot concentrate the way they concentrated in the school. So I feel it's a great gap in the holistic development. They have lost the disciplinary action. They have lost their language, the proficiency that they had when they were coming to school. I really feel it's a great loss. Actually, I'm running a primary school, and you can very well understand that in primary school, at every minute, we are in the interaction with the children. Their if, their but, everything is answerable by us. Now that they are online, we fail to understand their action. Yeah. They don't feel like they mute out. So it's very difficult.
So somewhere we are missing out on many things. We're missing out on that motivation which happens from the teacher to students.
It's wrong. It's a wrong procedure of teaching. It's just a satisfaction that we are teaching online. but in reality, no growth is coming up in the children. Leave about the
That's
little ones.
a strong point coming in here from a principal who really feels for the children, because we also talk about how teachers should get more trained, how digital learning should also, I mean, digital training should happen, even for the faculty, for teachers.
Are we giving them that training? Are we giving our teachers the training that they should get? No. Nowhere in India we are providing that training.
I think these are some of the points we must understand. I really want to bring some others in. We have less time today, and I'm really sorry that we have to really keep it very short today. If somebody else wants to come in, I would like maybe Shakun, if you have a question, you want to come in, or anybody else. We have just 2 questions here.
If
and
you
then
have
we
some
would
question for us, you please put up.
Yeah,
I'm really deeply, I'm heartfelt to say that it's a wrong procedure, just a mental makeup that we are teaching, but in reality, because for some time the school had opened, and when the children were back to school, they were ciphers completely. They even forgot the basics that they had been.
So that is what this learning gap is all about, what it should be and what it is. So I think that is the gap that we are trying to also understand. Shakun, if there are 2 questions that can be taken in, then we'll have to wrap up also today, because it's a very crisp show that we are looking at.
One question which I would like to, after hearing Sumita ma'am, one question which me and my sister-in-law, who's also a teacher in KV, Rohini, we discussed that, she said that in 6 months' time, she tried to cover up a year's syllabus. So is that covering up the syllabus, is it enough for a child? Will he
Very wrong it is.
Truncated manner, just and over. She talked about giving them lots of homework. Seema Didi also has got to follow a tight schedule and get all extracurricular activities, everything done in that a span of whatever time they are allotted in. Without the child, the projects are also they've been assigned, and deadlines are fixed, and child is just scattering and just whatever, and the teachers are also not bothered about evaluating in the true sense. They also, okay, something has come in, one line has come in, okay, so done, homework is done. Not so this is what I realized after hearing Samita ma'am, that this must be happening in school with the truncated days and truncated, but everybody trying to just make up, as Upma ji just said, do a makeup of and not be bothered with actual learning of the child.
That's really what's happening.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. That question was to me, is it?
Yeah, you can answer that. Yeah.
So I'm absolutely, I agree with you, Shakun. And also with Upma. Exactly. I mean, if I can say it in Hindi, क्योंकि हिंदी में ये अच्छा एक वो फ्रेज है, वो खाना पूर्ति वाला काम होता है ना, वो हिंदी में, you just stop gap वाला काम जो होता है. So that is exactly what is happening here. I mean, we are just, because even we are under pressure that we have to, if we don't comply with that, the guardians will be on us. Like, आपने पढ़ाया नहीं, आपने syllabus complete नहीं किया, आपने exam कैसे ले लिया, ये वो. So we have to face that, and we have to even complete the syllabus on time. Even if the schools have reopened in August, as I told you, we had only 6 months, and within that stipulated period, we had to take our exams. So we continuously kept taking those weekly tests on Mondays. What my instructions was that whatever you have taught within a week, just take tests on Monday. So that way we were just updating students as much as we could. And as far as the tests were concerned, of course, the students, it's all up to the students and guardians also. Students who studied sincerely, they were doing good. So ultimately, we were able to conduct our exams in December, in the first week of December. And fortunately, or I'm happy to say that the students have done very good. I mean, there are exceptions always, like if the students don't study, if the parents are not putting in a lot of efforts.
Yeah.
So Sumita ji,
one point that I gather from one point that I gather from you is the pressure of the school management as to how to deliver. If education is something that they have to deliver as a product, how does one do that? Because there are parents, as you're saying, on your head, they're asking you, there are children who need to be taught, they need to learn, and they need to study and educate themselves. How does it happen? I think this show is also creating some of these points here, which are very important.
If I may interrupt you, Rakhee, because since we are running a private school, so we have invested, isn't it? That's a practical thing. We have invested in buildings, we have invested in the infrastructure, teachers. It's a huge expenditure. It's a huge expenditure we are incurring every month. So if I don't give them results, if I don't teach them, if I don't do things, the parents will say, "Ye school bekar hai, dusre school mein chalo." This is a practical thing.
जी नहीं, और उसके अलावा सुमिता जी, अच्छा पॉइंट, एक पॉइंट और जो दिल्ली में भी हमें देखने को मिला, हालांकि हम दिल्ली की शहरों की बात नहीं करें, हम गांव की भी बात करें, कि सरकारी स्कूलों में इतनी सुविधाएं कैसे दी जाएं। प्राइवेट स्कूल में तो चलिए फिर भी कुछ लोग अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं, बट देन नॉट एवरीबडी can afford. And I think Madhuji, when we were talking, getting inputs from you, that is what we've also learned, how to provide that digital infrastructure.
The thing is that I want to present just an idea, float an idea about here. We are here, so much of educationists, we are here to talk about the solutions. So I will just propose, though, we should come with solutions to meet the challenges which is going to be there. This pandemic is going to be there.
Okay.
We have to work in.
So quick points there. So quick points there. Solutions.
Rakhee, I want to ask all the educators something. In Australia, there are big outbacks, especially, and I have met many people who give their children homeschooling. Their children don't go to school, regular schools, but they do homeschooling. So how does that formula works? If we can take inspiration and take what works from them and work out a system. And today, I think we are much more that we have this digital communication. Yeah.
Yes, she was saying something.
If they can,
so
let her speak. Madhuji was saying something already. Let her come in.
I just wanted to complete with that. You can use this platform, forming a self-help group, providing help to all those students who are needy. Teach each one concept should be there. If there is some gap, the parents are not able to help their child, the neighbors, family members, and
provide infrastructure also. Help there. So offer support is what I think from the HerWorld India team and its members coming in here, that we have to also support, create solidarity.
Let not the whole generation go wasted.
Suffer. But taking on points from all of you, I want to say here, and I want to really quote Benjamin Franklin here, who said that an investment in knowledge always pays great interest. So जो हमने investment की है, उसकी great interest आएंगे, but कैसे आएंगे? This is what we are trying to understand here in this show, ladies and some gentlemen, as I'm saying. This is just the beginning of one of our series of shows that we are taking up, especially on education as a subject. We'll continue to do that, but right now I think we'll have to wrap it all up here. You can write into us also. We have a portal, and we are also available on all social media handles. We are on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. So please write into us with your suggestions. We'll take them up as themes. And every time we have all of you, I'm sure, as our support. I welcome all the members who are joining us here. And that is for now. But on HerWorld India, which is your platform, which is for all of you, we are going to take up all the issues that matter for you and for all of us. So thank you, ladies, and for the speakers also, thank you so much for joining in here. The recording would soon be available on YouTube, and we'll be watching it there as well.
Thank you so much.
So much.
Thank you so much, Rakhee.